Properties of exponents are ways that numbers and exponents can be rewritten in mathematical equations so that these numbers and equations are then solvable and much clearer. This topic is relevant throughout all levels of algebra.
Our first exponential property is the product of powers. It's essentially multiplying the number by itself in any given number of times.
Our next exponential property is the power of a power. This property states that when you multiply a number that is put to an exponent to another exponent, the final number will be the multiplication of the two exponents together.
Next, we have the power of a product. In most ways, we can relate this to distributive property because it has the same concept. During this, you distribute the exponent to both bases and multiply them together as shown.
The next property is the quotient of powers property. In this property, it states that when two numbers of the same base are put to exponents in a fraction, you subtract the number on the denominator from the number in the numerator to find the final result.
Now we have the power of a quotient. In this property, we have a fraction raised to the power of x. The power of x is then distributed to both the numerator and the denominator. After the final expression, you can then use the quotient of powers property to solve it.
Finally, we have what we are calling the zero property. This property says that whenever you raise a number to the power of 0, it will always give you the number 1. For example, x raised to the power of 0 is 1 no matter what.
Also, we have the square root property. This effectively states that if you raise x to the power of a fraction, you essentially root x to the value of the denominator of that fraction.
Next, we have the revised product of powers. This states that when you have two numbers of the same base raised to different exponents, you can add the exponents together and get the final number. This can then give you the final product of powers as we previously mentioned.
Lastly, we have negative exponents. In order to simplify an expression with negative exponents, you must use the elevator method to do so. The elevator method simply means that you reciprocate the negative exponent, which will make it 1 divided by x to the power of n, as your final expression as shown.
In our practice problem, we see 5 to the 4th being divided by 5 to the 2nd. To solve this problem, you must use the quotient of powers property. When put into expanded form, it is seen that 2 of the 5's in the numerator can be cancelled out by 2 in the denominator. This leaves you with 5 raised to the power of 2, or 25.
We chose properties of exponents as our idea to discuss because of the significance of its use. Properties of exponents are simply a basic important understanding of exponents, which people can implement into more complicating forms of exponents such as logarithms and calculating interest.
Smoke a lot of weed on the fur.